this. I'm literally the god.
A storm chaser catching a lightning strike just feet away from his car in Ohio, now calling it the scariest moment of his storm chasing career, as communities up and down the East Coast are cleaning up tonight after tornadoes rip through their neighborhoods. The CDC releasing its data behind its decision to urge Americans to mask up again. The Delta variant spreading as easily as chickenpox, and it appears even if you're vaccinated, you can still transmit the virus. Tonight, doctors urging Americans stay calm as public health officials try to hammer home this message. If you want to end the pandemic, get vaccinated.
I wanted to be optimistic too. I would have loved for all of this to be over, but we can't always get what we want.
The bitter battle tonight over online misinformation and the vaccine. Should social media giants be doing more to separate fact from fiction?
These big tech companies that have the wealth to know better have failed to act on the misinformation.
The rush to protect millions of Americans who could be evicted as early as Sunday if the White House or Congress can't devise a way to extend the eviction moratorium. Declare the election corrupt and leave the rest to me. Handwritten notes showing former President Trump pushing the Justice Department to overturn the election. What else he said and the response from Democrats tonight. 100 bottles of milk and nearly 75 diapers a day. This supermom from Mali living on cloud nine. Our conversation with her on what life has been like weeks after giving birth to 9 kids at once. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips in for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Well, the war has changed. That sobering message from the CDC today after it released troubling new data showing vaccinated Americans may still easily spread the Delta variant, and it could be as infectious as chickenpox. The new information so troubling, it prompted the CDC to reverse its mask guidance earlier this week. That data coming from the small beach community of Provincetown in Massachusetts, where nearly 900 people have been infected with the Delta variant. 3/4 of them were vaccinated. We are there tonight. And officials now pointing to those vaccines as the only way to truly end the pandemic. And it does appear Americans are listening. More than 850,000 doses administered yesterday. That's up nearly 300,000 from last week. ABC's senior national correspondent Steve Osunsami leads us off tonight from the CDC in Atlanta.
Public health officials are trying to warn Americans tonight that the fight against the coronavirus has changed dramatically. After looking at the latest outbreaks around the world, they believe that this new Delta variant of the coronavirus is at least 3 times as contagious as Ebola, bird flu, and the common cold. Just one person sick with the original strain of the disease could easily infect an average of 2 to 3 people in close contact. That number could now be up to 9 people with the Delta variant, according to the CDC.
I started to get a fever, and that's when I kind of knew, oh, this is it. This is COVID.
Johnny Chagnon is one of nearly 900 new cases of COVID-19 that came from what scientists believe is an outbreak of the new Delta variant in Provincetown, Massachusetts. He's a public health department employee from Vermont and says he and his friends were fully vaccinated.
We were partying, like I said, partying like it's 2019 and pretending like the pandemic never happened. I've heard of dozens or even more than 100 cases of people that I'm connected to personally who tested positive. Within my close circle of friends, there's about 10.
Authorities say that 90% of the people they've tested so far were sick with the Delta variant, and that about 74% of state residents who were infected were fully vaccinated. It's similar to the outbreak on this cruise ship in the Bahamas. 4 of the 6 people being flown home tonight were fully vaccinated. On Broadway in New York City, you'll now need to be wearing a mask and show proof you've been vaccinated to see a show. But people aren't always loving the old rules returning.
We're not doing masks again in our family.
At this school board meeting in Florida, parents upset with wearing masks had to be shown the door.
Please escort him out.
It's ridiculous. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Today, America woke up to its highest number of daily new cases since early February, more than 86,000. More use of the vaccines will certainly help, and to that end, the federal government says it's working as fast as possible to get full FDA approval for the Pfizer vaccine. Some people refuse to get the shot without this.
Steve Osunsami joining us now. Steve, as you just mentioned, the FDA tonight really trying to fast-track full approval of the Pfizer vaccine. What steps are they taking now?
So the FDA is trying to make the Pfizer vaccine to have full FDA approval versus the emergency authorization use that currently exists. And the reason for this is that the federal government believes that there are a number of Americans who are refusing to get the vaccine because it is currently for this authorized emergency use. They believe that by getting it full approval, more Americans will get the shot. Kira.
We'll stay on the story with you. Thanks so much, Steve.
Yeah.
Trevor Ault joining us now from Provincetown, Massachusetts. The small beach community has one of the higher vaccination rates, yet they have this cluster of breakthrough cases. Trevor, how are people taking that in town right now?
Well, Kira, they're definitely taking it as a real wake-up call. As you can imagine, we're talking about hundreds of infections, and about 75% of them were breakthrough infections. This is an area with one of the highest vaccination rates in the entire country. Having said that, these outbreaks, if anything, it hasn't shaken their belief in the vaccines. From the people that I'm talking to, it has reaffirmed that faith, because of the 900 or so infections, there's been less than 10 hospitalizations, according to officials, and 0 deaths. So they are grateful for those vaccines, and in fact, they're doubling down on it. We're seeing some businesses requiring proof of vaccination if you want to enter in and continue to go about their business here. But if anything, this is starting to make local leaders and state senator who talked to ABC News, they're very concerned. They're referring to this as the pandemic 2.0 almost, because if this virus and the increasing threat of the Delta variant can have that kind of impact here with high vaccination rates, they're very worried now about what it can do to the rest of the country, particularly hot zone areas that have low vaccination rates. Kira.
Well, you point out there has to be some concern tonight from officials across the country, as scenes like Provincetown, where you see people are partying without masks, at the beach. It can't be unique to just that area, obviously. Is there a sense there in P-Town that people are going to change their behaviors?
Well, I think the most obvious change in behavior that we're seeing, Kira, is the fact that a lot of people are not coming right now to Provincetown. I mean, this is a Friday night. This is downtown. This is usually a bustling street, and there's not a lot of people out here right now. Now, that very well is likely in response to the outbreak here, not necessarily to the change and the restrictions. Having said that, we've talked to business owners here who say it was obvious and they had really no choice but to up those restrictions, to mandate masks indoors, and that's the town's decision to mandate masks indoors, but a lot of those businesses are requiring vaccinations as well because they felt they had to protect their employees. And as one restaurant owner told us, Kira, essentially, you have the right to not get vaccinated if you so choose, but you don't have the right to come in and put other people at risk inside their businesses. So for the people who are permanently in Provincetown, they are convicted in what they're doing. They're certain in their path forward, at least a lot of these business owners. Having said that, they are very aware of the impact that's going to have on a town that relies very heavily on the tourist season. They say they have only about 14 to 16 weeks of business, and even shutting down for a single day is going to have a long-term impact on their ability to remain open. They are continuing to stick to their plans, and they are insisting on safety first. Having said that, we already saw the economic damage that last year did. These worrying signs about what we could see with another summer potentially of the Delta variant continuing to spread. A lot of businesses are concerned about their future, and certainly people in general are concerned about their safety. Kira?
Sure, understandable. Well, you're in a beautiful part of the country. I hope you get to enjoy one of the good restaurants there, Trevor, while you're covering the story for us. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, Kira.
Now we bring in a Frontline hero, Lauren Schiller, a COVID ward nurse at the University of Florida Health in Jacksonville. Lauren, thanks so much for being with us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, there you are, right in the COVID hotspot, really at the center of what we're seeing right now. What's your ward like at this moment? Describe to us what you're experiencing.
It is is very busy right now. We have a total of 32 patients, where 2.5 weeks ago we had 26. So it's a lot more people, a lot busier. We have 2 people in a lot of rooms, so we're no longer private rooms, we're double rooms now. So that's back to where we were last January, in our big peak of last year. So we're kind of taking a step back to where we were and trying to navigate through this new variant and help as many people as we can. And it's very busy here.
Are you able to tell us how many of those people have been vaccinated or not?
Majority of the people that are in the hospital have not been vaccinated. I believe it's in the upper 90% of people who haven't been vaccinated that are currently in the hospital.
Wow.
But I am proud to announce that we have began to give the vaccinations on the floor to people who are here on our care before we're about to send them home. We actually had one patient today that was able to leave with the vaccine, one of the first doses. So that's a really cool new thing that we're able to do. And we're just hoping to get more and more people vaccinated, as many as possible.
Boy, if that's not just a real life message right there, the fact that these folks you are seeing are not vaccinated, did they want to be vaccinated? Has it been hard to convince them that now they're in the hospital sick, that they definitely should? Have they been, okay, I get it now, I'll be vaccinated?
Yes. I would say once they get to the point where they're in the hospital, almost all of them say they want to be vaccinated now, that they wish they had gotten vaccinated before it got to the point where they had to come to the hospital. There's very many people that where they get discharged, they say the first thing I'm going to do when I leave here is go and get vaccinated. So that's something that we hope reaches out to a lot of people who haven't been vaccinated yet, to try to get them to get out and go get vaccinated before they have to get to the point where they come to the hospital.
Well, I hope this sends a message, our interview, that people pay attention. You know, you've worked through earlier COVID surges, and many of us thought that this summer would mark the beginning of the end to the pandemic. What do you think of that optimism now?
I wanted to be optimistic too. I would have loved for all of this to be over, but we can't always get what we want, and we just have to roll with the punches and learn more from every day and try to better ourselves and better the care that we can give people, and, reframe our minds into maybe we need to wait longer to open things back up and continue to wear masks, continue to social distance, don't take anything for granted, and just be smart. And soon enough, I'm sure we'll be able to go back to normalcy again.
Love your positive attitude. You know, your state's governor, Ron DeSantis, signed an executive order today, Lauren, allowing parents to choose whether or not their kids will mask up at school. And he says his own kids aren't even going to wear masks, which is against current CDC recommendations. So the executive order actually says, quote, masking children may lead to negative health and societal ramifications. What do you think of that messaging?
I think it's interesting. I can see that side of it. But, as a nurse, it's not for any of us here to really make decisions for other people. Everybody has to make their own decisions. We can only give our opinion and what we know from our studies and the information that we're given from doctors and scientists here. So it's up to the public to try to make their decisions based on the information they have, and we hope that we're giving them information that they choose to, recognize and put into their daily lives as practice. So that's really all we can do.
So I wonder if the governor would consider visiting your ward, or maybe he has. I bet you would have a message for him.
Yeah, he hasn't been one to come yet, but who knows? We're welcome to opening our doors to people who are able to get a message out, and we just want everyone to stay safe. And I do think that coming here would open a lot of eyes and help some people into coming to terms with what this actually could mean for them, and just go get vaccinated.
Well said. Lauren Schiller, we sure appreciate you not only for doing this interview, but for who you are and what you are doing right there on the front lines. Important work. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, those eviction protections created because of economic pains caused by the pandemic are set to expire this weekend, leaving millions of families facing the potential risk of being kicked out of their homes. ABC's congressional correspondent Rachel Scott with more on the ticking clock and Congress.
Tonight, millions of Americans could be kicked out of their homes as soon as Sunday because Washington has failed to extend the moratorium on evictions. And now the House is leaving for summer recess.
Why did Democrats wait until now, hours before recess ends, hours before this eviction moratorium is going to expire, to try and hold a vote to extend it?
I think this is something that will work out. So we would like the CDC to expand the moratorium. That's where it can be done.
But the White House points the finger back at Congress, saying it's on them.
So the Supreme Court's ruling stated that clear and specific congressional authorization would be necessary for the CDC to extend the moratorium through July.
Meanwhile, in Salt Lake City, Deborah Chamberlain, a single mother of 2 young girls, is preparing to be evicted this weekend.
It's a horrible feeling as a parent. No parent wants to be in that position, not to be able to tell their kids what the answer is going to be.
And in New Orleans, Amy Kuzno, a chef whose restaurant shut down because of the pandemic, now fearing she will be out on the street.
I don't even know where I would go because all the homeless places where people might sleep or congregate are full already before anybody gets evicted.
The irony here, this is not a battle over funding. Congress has already allocated $47 billion to help tenants and landlords during the pandemic, but only $3 billion has been distributed. New York, for example, was sent $2.7 billion, but almost none of that has gone out to the people who desperately need it.
And Rachel Scott joining me now from the Hill. So, Rachel, we are now at the 11th hour on this. Is there anything left that can be done?
The clock has run out, Kira, and that is the reality here on Capitol Hill. The House just adjourned moments ago. President Biden is now putting pressure on state and local governments. In a statement, he says they must take all steps to immediately distribute those rental assistance funds. But look, again, the reality here is that the administration and Congress, they knew that this deadline was coming for weeks, and they did nothing about it, Kira.
Rachel Scott from D.C. for us. Rachel, thanks. Now to former President Donald Trump and new questions tonight about whether he tried to pressure the Justice Department to falsely declare the 2020 election corrupt. This comes after the IRS has been cleared to give Congress the former president's tax returns. ABC's Terry Moran has the details.
Tonight, stunning real-time evidence of how Donald Trump allegedly tried to pressure the leaders of the Department of Justice to declare the November election corrupt, but they wouldn't do it. These are the handwritten notes taken by a senior DOJ official on a December 27th phone call. They show Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen telling Trump the DOJ can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election. Trump had an answer for that argument. Don't expect you to do that. Just say that the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman. In public, Trump was pushing the same falsehood.
The truth is, we won the election by a landslide. We won it big.
But according to the notes, Richard Donahue, the number 2 official at the DOJ, told him flat out that much of the info he is getting is false. We look at the allegations, but they do not pan out. The Justice Department had launched dozens of investigations into voter fraud claims, interviewed hundreds of people. Trump's response? You guys may not be following the internet the way I do.
And our Terry Moran is joining us now. So, Terry, the Justice Department released these notes, and it also ruled that the former president's tax returns must be handed over to House investigators. And that's a stark change from the previous administration's stance on these issues, right?
It sure is, Kira. Remember, President Trump really had a maximal attitude about executive privilege. He stonewalled pretty much every congressional investigation and outside investigations as well, with the argument that the president, doesn't need to cooperate with those investigations because it would interfere with the discharge of his duties. But the Biden administration under Attorney General Merrick Garland taking a very different view. They're drawing a much stricter line. It's really got to be related to something the president as president is doing, not something in his personal or his political interest. And that's why you're seeing the change. Kira?
It's a whole different world now, isn't it, Terry? Our Terry Moran, live from the nation's capital. Now to Tokyo and the Summer Olympics, where tonight the U.S. women's soccer team has kept their gold medal hopes alive, while in the pool, an American swimmer suggested his race wasn't clean after losing to Russia. ABC's James Longman has the latest from Tokyo.
Tonight, Megan Rapinoe and the U.S. women's soccer team keeping their Olympic dream alive, defeating the Netherlands, advancing to the semi-final. And COVID a concern, but it's doping that has some athletes really worried here. American swimmer Ryan Murphy telling reporters, "It is a huge mental drain on me throughout the year to know I'm swimming in a race that's probably not clean." Murphy, who won gold in the 100 and 200-meter backstroke in Rio, lost both Olympic titles to Evgeny Rilov from Russia. Russian athletes are banned from competing under their own flag, and their team is called Russian Olympic Committee. But some don't feel that's enough after a massive state-sponsored doping program was discovered after the 2014 Sochi Games and drug testing enforcement loosened during the pandemic. And it's not just a concern in swimming. American rower Megan Calmo and her partner didn't make the finals in women's pair. Tweeting after the team from Russia took silver, "Seeing a crew who shouldn't even be here walk away with a silver is a nasty feeling." Murphy later saying he wasn't accusing his competitor, who's adamantly denied doping.
My intention is not to make any allegations here. Congratulations to Evgeny. I do believe there's doping in swimming.
Meanwhile, the biggest question of this Games, will Simone Biles vie for an individual medal? The superstar, whose exit from the team and all-round competitions shocked the world, revealing on Instagram today she's still experiencing a phenomenon that gymnasts call the twisties. Writing, "For anyone saying I quit, I didn't quit. My mind and body are simply not in sync." Biles posting, then deleting videos from her practice session this morning, not completing a twisting maneuver on the uneven bars and landing hard on her back. Commenting, "I don't think you realize how dangerous this is on a hard competition surface." So, will Simone Biles compete in the individual events? Well, she's being assessed daily, and we may not know until just before the competition. But vault goes Sunday. Kira?
And we'll follow it. James, thanks. When we come back, a deadly swarm of bees claiming one life and injuring others. Where is it amid this 100-pound beehive that was finally removed? The secrets of the Smithsonian, our conversation with the barrier-breaking curator and what he thinks his place in history will be as he preserves America's hidden treasures. And she had 9 babies. Yes, 9. Our journey to Morocco to hear from the mother who conceived all of them naturally and calls them a gift from God. It's an ABC News exclusive.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner for the 2nd straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source. Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live. This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're going to move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
One newborn is a handful. Having 9 at once, well, that must be harrowing. Our team just got back from Morocco to meet the mother who was expecting 7 kids, but discovered 2 more surprises while delivering. Our Lindsay Davis brings us this remarkable story.
Halima Cisse and her husband Abdel Kadir Arbi are on their way to the neonatal intensive care unit in Casablanca. A far journey from their homeland in Timbuktu, but one these parents were relieved to make. It's been nearly 2 months since this 26-year-old mother from Mali had not 1, not 2, but 9 babies. We're hearing from them for the very first time.
So we always wanted a baby. But if someone told me one day, Mr. Arbi, I would have 9 babies, I would say it's false.
For months, scans were only showing 7 fetuses. It wasn't until she gave birth that doctors realized there were 2 more.
There were a lot of things going through my mind. Being afraid for myself, for my kids, how it was going to unfold, all of that was going through my mind.
They're called nonuplets, and they're extremely rare. In fact, there have only been 2 other recorded cases, but none have survived past a few days. The last time we saw anything close to this many multiple births was 12 years ago from Nadia Suleiman.
I wish I could split myself into 14 parts and I can't do that.
Nicknamed Octomom, she is the current Guinness World Record holder for most children delivered at a single birth to survive. But she had 8 babies, and like most multiple births, they were conceived through in vitro fertilization. Halima's pregnancy is all the more rare because it occurred naturally, requiring a team of 10 doctors and 25 paramedics for her C-section.
That means it's a first. This is the first time we're attending a birth like this. The most important delivery we've seen was 4 babies that I've seen in my career. But the births of these babies, 9 babies, it's very rare. She's the first one to give birth to 9 babies who are alive and healthy.
Such pregnancies are extremely dangerous for the mother, but this clinic was determined to keep both mom and babies alive.
So we fight for every baby. We don't give in. We don't present 9 babies to the mom. We present 1 baby at a time. This baby must grow. It must survive. That's that reasoning. So we're not reasoning between these 9, choosing who will survive development. Everyone has to survive.
Born after 30 weeks, their weight ranged between 1 and just a little over 2 pounds. They've spent the first few months of their little lives sequestered in this ICU. The Malian government flew them out during pregnancy. Each day, Halima and Abdel Kadir must suit up in PPE just to hold their 5 girls and 4 little boys. 9 names is certainly a lot to keep track of, but their parents tell us they wanted their names to be as significant as their birth.
The first boy bears the name in tribute to his King Mohammed VI, and he is the King of Morocco. And the second boy is Bangdung's name. He is the former president of Mali.
The clinic staff tells us they use about 75 diapers and about 100 bottles of milk a day.
It's a lot of work and a lot of work, but out of love, all love, I promise you, for the whole team. It's not just me, for love. Doctors and everything, making visits every morning, baby by baby, we're all doing it. Individualized care, that is very, very good.
Soon, these nonuplets will be able to take the voyage back to Mali, where their big sister awaits. Abdel Kadir is a soldier in the Malian army, and Halima is a student. Now they have 10 children. The added pressure weighs heavily on their minds.
It must also be said, the weight, the responsibility is enormous. It's huge. To raise one baby is not easy, and then 9 more. 9, and we also measure care that is necessary. And the follow-up that is there, which appeals, and education, and everything that goes with it.
Despite the obvious challenges, they are filled with an immense amount of gratitude and hope for the future. They consider these babies to be a blessing from God.
And what I want to tell you, I'll add that it's divine gratification. It must be said. The output surprised us. It's surprising. Even after the surprise, we have joy that has always been there. Responsibilities are confident and optimistic. Everything's going to be fine.
And what a beautiful family. Thanks to our Lindsay Davis for that. Well, still ahead here on Prime, homeowners and businesses cleaning up after ferocious storms that usually hit the plains and the south. They pummeled communities in the Northeast. And both of them targets of tabloid media. Our royal exclusive with Fergie, the Duchess of York, and what she thinks about the drama surrounding Harry and Meghan. And the pandemic's toll on students and learning. We take a look by the numbers. But first, our tweet of the day. Actor Bob Odenkirk, star of Better Call Saul, revealing he had a heart attack but is on the mend. In a series of tweets, he thanked everyone from friends to family for their overwhelming support.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you?
How cute.
Yeah.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 12 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people
Squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
what is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
Assault on the Capitol, the ABC News original, exclusively on Hulu, now streaming. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source.
With kids heading back to school, we take a look at the alarming new research on learning loss during the pandemic and the communities hardest hit by the numbers. Overall, achievement gains in reading last school year dropped 6 percentage points compared to the pre-pandemic school year and dropped to 12 percentage points in math, according to the education research organization NWEA, which analyzed test scores from millions of 3rd to 8th graders. Children in high poverty communities fared worse, with third graders falling 11 percentage points in reading achievement and 17 percentage points in math compared to past years. Another study by McKinsey & Company found that on average, American kids fell 5 months behind in math and 4 months behind in reading during the pandemic, while students in majority black schools ended the year 6 months behind, and students from low-income schools fell 7 months behind, widening the already existing achievement gap. But here's some positive news. Most children continued to learn during the pandemic, just not as much as they would have in normal years. And some experts say these early findings are not quite as dire as predicted. And we still have a ton to get to here on Prime, including a conversation about massive misinformation on social media that could be causing so many people to not get vaccinated. And a roller coaster at sea will take you up, down, and all around. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
World News Now.
And America This Morning.
The best new video.
The breaking news overnight.
Emergency crews called to the town of Surfside.
U.S. airstrikes hitting targets in Iraq and Syria.
The stories people are talking about.
You don't want to shave your legs? Don't. I was going to say.
Oh my. Got it.
And what to expect in the day ahead.
ABC World News Now and America This Morning.
Starting at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Up all night to keep you up to date.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source.
This is GMA3, what you need to know. GMA3.
A third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon.
It's all about you. Lunchtime on ABC.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're going to move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues, The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Public health officials are trying to warn Americans tonight that the fight against the coronavirus has changed dramatically. After looking at the latest outbreaks around the world, they believe that this new Delta variant of the coronavirus is at least 3 times as contagious as Ebola, bird flu, and the common cold. Just one person sick with the original strain of the disease could easily infect an average of 2 to 3 people in close contact. That number could now be up to 9 people with the Delta variant, according to the CDC.
I started to get a fever.
Johnny Chagnon is one of nearly 900 new cases of COVID-19 that came from what scientists believe is an outbreak of the new Delta variant in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Authorities say that 90% of the people they've tested so far were sick with the Delta variant, and that about 74% of state residents who were infected were fully vaccinated. Today, America woke up to its highest number of daily new cases since early February, more than 86,000.
awful storms tearing through the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast.
Wow, car is shaking.
Outside Philadelphia, employees and customers at this car dealership racing into the bathroom for shelter as a tornado approached Thursday, emerging to find it ripped apart.
This just did not happen.
4 people hurt at the multiple dealerships struck here in Bucks County, 6 injured in all. Tonight, we're learning that twister was an EF3 with winds up to 140 miles per hour.
At least 4 people have died from growing wildfires in southern Turkey. 4,000 firefighters are battling more than 60 fires. And in Greece, authorities ordered additional fire patrols as the country grapples with extreme heat.
Welcome to global warming.
Expected to last more than a week. Temperatures are expected to climb to over 107 degrees.
I think it will be like hell. I'm not happy about it. I think it's all about the global warming and I don't know how to say, the damage we do to this planet.
Next tonight, a terrifying scene playing out in Marana, Arizona. Authorities say 1 man was killed and 5 others injured, attacked by a massive swarm of bees. 3 firefighters among those hurt. 1 stung about 60 times. The bees coming from a 100-pound hive that was near a home. Most of those bees have now been removed.
At this point, there is still a hive there. All the bees were, or a majority of the bees were exterminated. We had a beekeeper respond and assist us with that, and they're trying to remove the hive at this point.
Bolt is the first ever roller coaster at sea, debuting on the highest deck of Carnival's newest ship, Mardi Gras, making its maiden voyage tomorrow. The launch delayed for more than a year after the pandemic brought the cruise industry to a halt.
We'll bring guests on for the very first time on Saturday, and of course we continue to work with CDC as things evolve and change.
Just this week, at least 2 passengers on celebrity cruise ships tested positive for COVID-19. Carnival says they require 95% of guests on board to be vaccinated in accordance with the CDC and encourages masking for unvaccinated passengers who will have to take multiple COVID tests before and during their cruise.
It's a happy occasion in Guangzhou, China, as the world's only surviving panda triplets celebrated their 7th birthday. Mang Mang, Shuai Shuai, and Cuckoo are the 4th set of panda triplets to be born. Conservation experts in China say each panda is developing distinct personalities.
As the Delta variant continues to drive cases up around the country, government officials at every level now are urging people to get vaccinated, but they're facing a bitter battle because of online misinformation. Earlier this year, the Center for Countering Digital Hate identified 12 people who make up 65% of the misinformation seen on social media. Joining us now is Imran Ahmed, the founder and CEO of the organization. Imran, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, so who makes up this disinformation dozen that you talk about, and why haven't any of the big social media companies taken action against them?
Well, look, these are 12 super spreaders of digital misinformation. They're people who, with companies behind them, charities, large organizations, often hundreds of staff and millions of dollars to spend, that they have become the producers of the best quality, most shareable misinformation. And we calculated that these 12 individuals make up 2/3 of all misinformation shares on social media. The reason why companies haven't taken action? Well, because frankly, they're a draw. They are eyeballs to their sites. And in the end, because of the way that liability works on social media platforms, no one can actually get them to take action against these people. They don't have to close their accounts down, even when the President of the United States says that their inaction is costing lives.
Can you give us just a few examples of who we are talking about when you talk about this dozen?
Sure. Well, one example is Joe McCullough, who claims that the way to solve acute COVID is nebulized hydrogen peroxide. Sounds very scientific, but nebulized means breathed in through a mask, for example, and hydrogen peroxide is bleach. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is another example who says that African blood is different to white blood and that black boys shouldn't be vaccinated because they have more side effects. That's simply not true. And what it means is that, of course, African American people would be more reluctant if they believed him to take a vaccine. for a disease that has ravaged that community and had a disproportionate impact on them.
So a lot of times it's hard to recognize what's true and what's misinformation on social media. I mean, just listening to what you said, I think that that sounded pretty outrageous to me, just the way you described it, and that they would even say things like that. Are there any simple tips that you can give our viewers to better identify fact from fiction, especially when it comes to vaccine misinformation?
But the truth is that the social media companies in particular would like the onus to be upon the individual to try and identify misinformation when they see it. In fact, it's quite difficult. These are really sophisticated preachers of misinformation. For example, often they pose things just as questions. Often they say they've got different theories. They're peppering people constantly, trying to make them hesitant. What they're doing is trying to overwhelm our defenses, our ability to critically fact check all that information. The best thing that we can do is remember that the best source of medical information, the one that we've trusted for years, for decades in our families, for example, is our personal physician. But also to remember that anything that you see on social media that isn't coming from an official account, for example, the CDC, or from your local practice, might actually be misinformation. It's very difficult on these platforms to distinguish between good and bad information, especially when the rules that govern those platforms, that is, that they actually say medical misinformation isn't allowed, but they don't enforce those rules.
And why is that? Why is that, and why is it so hard to fact check?
Well, I mean, in reality, these 12, we have fact-checked for them. You would think the platforms would thank us, perhaps send us a bottle of wine, say, congratulations for having identified for them who are the super spreaders of misinformation. In reality, because these audiences are worth a lot of money to them, conspiracy theories are addictive. They keep people on platform digging further and further, going down the rabbit hole of misinformation and conspiracism, which if any of us has someone who's swallowed a conspiracy theory, will recognize that behavior. So because it keeps people on platform consuming ads, actually these big tech companies that have the wealth to know better have failed to act on the misinformation.
So you're saying greed is costing lives?
Absolutely. This comes down to one thing. It comes down to dollars. And unfortunately, there is no way for anyone to impose anything because the nature of US law, what's called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act 1996, written before social media existed, says that no internet platform can be liable for the content produced by a third party, which means that they can't be economically, they couldn't be sued, they couldn't be criminally prosecuted for that content. And that has created a culture of impunity in which, you know, a few billionaires have basically greedily sat back and said, well, why bother spending money on moderation when there's nothing they can really do about it?
Well, Imran, then what can be done to pressure these companies to do more in response to misinformation that can be incredibly harmful?
Well, I mean, at this point, we saw both the anger in the White House when President Biden cited the numbers from the disinformation dozen to say that these 12 people are causing untold havoc. And he said, Facebook are killing people. But that also showed the limitations of what he can do. We have no tools beyond moral pressure. Now, Senator Klobuchar has a bill which she's just introduced a few days ago, which would create liability for social media companies if they permit the spread of misinformation when they know that it's being spread in a public health crisis. And we're going to have to be creative because really this is a problem that lots of countries around the world are wrestling with. In the UK, they're trying an online safety bill. In Europe, they're trying a Digital Services Act. In the US, until now, it's been piecemeal. It will be up to President Biden to show the same boldness that he's shown in confronting other social issues, for example, the economic downturn, when it comes to the issue of misinformation on social media.
Imran Ahmed is the CEO and founder of the Center for Countering Digital Hate. Imran, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And we now head across the pond to England, where the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, is out with a new book that's taking a page out of her family history. ABC's Maggie Rulli not only sat down with her to talk about it, but also went on a bit of an adventure.
I wish I had some apples for you.
Oh, he likes you. Look at that.
When I meet up with the Duchess of York, she tells me to call her Sarah.
You're a bit of a show-off.
Yeah.
You got the camera.
We saddle up.
Lady Margaret would be riding side saddle.
All right. Oh, hey there.
We look good. You look good.
Then trot through the English countryside.
But I say that the negativity of the past should drift away. And we're here today, and we celebrate being here today.
She's showing the world it's never too late to start something new, releasing her first novel, Her Heart for a Compass, based on the unconventional and determined Lady Margaret, her distant relative, set in the Victorian era.
Lady Margaret is an extremely wonderful, strong, very resilient redhead who, against extraordinary confines of what is seen as normal and duty. And I couldn't explain it if I hadn't had a hint of fighting my own journey through my own compass of my own heart.
And I'm wondering how that translates to you today, finding your own voice, making your needs heard, not always being the one that pleases others.
Yeah, 100% stopping being a people pleaser and speaking up and realizing that you are entitled to a voice. I don't believe I've really spoken out until now properly.
And now she is not holding back, speaking out about how she was vilified in the press and pitted against her famous and much-loved sister-in-law, Princess Diana.
It was an extraordinary thing to realize that we were selling papers rather than it being real. In the days of Diana and I, it was really tough.
Do you feel as if the media treats women unfairly?
You don't really have an opinion. And I think it's quite fun to keep coming back with an opinion. Is that the rebel in me?
I think that might be the rebel in you. But even in more recent times, you know, there's been the Epstein scandal that made headlines. There's been affairs and things. I mean, that's a lot to have to deal with as a human. How do you find this resilience? How do you keep dealing day to day?
Well, for anybody watching, apologize profusely to yourself, to others. I have destroyed myself many times, but the most important thing is to get up and get going.
I'm curious your thoughts on the way the press has treated Meghan in particular.
There should be no judgment on race, creed, colour, or any other denomination. I wish Harry and Meghan so much happiness, and I know that Diana would be so proud of her sons and their wives. I love Diana and I will always love her, as though she's here in person.
Reminiscing, she says one of her fondest memories is when she married Prince Andrew 35 years ago. The couple split 10 years later, but today she says they're the happiest divorced couple in the world.
It's very difficult to put me in a box because nobody really can understand. They say I'm kooky. I'm not kooky. I'm just myself. And they say that I'm eccentric. I am myself, but that's okay. I like to do what I do.
And when we come back, he's breaking barriers and rewriting history. Perfect combination for the Smithsonian's first black secretary. Our exclusive interview straight ahead.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues, The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough. You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back. We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
He has spent more than 40 years in the museum world and is regarded as a leading intellectual and historian of the Black experience. But this moment in history will definitely go down as one of Lonnie Bunch's most defining life experiences as our country continues to live in a new era of racial reconciliation. Bunch becomes the first Black secretary of the Smithsonian, and with that honor comes a promise. Secretary Bunch says he will make sure that all of us will view his museums not simply as nostalgia, but as a cauldron of understanding that will be transformative for our country.
Let us use history to inspire us to push a country forward, to help us believe that all things are possible.
From his prestigious perch within the storied Smithsonian Castle, you're listening to a promise Dr. Lonnie Bunch made to himself at the age of 10.
When you were a little boy and you wanted to visit museums, your dad would only drop you off in front of the Smithsonian. Why?
He pulled into Washington, stopped in front of the Smithsonian, and said, here is a place where you can understand yourself, your history, and not have to worry about the burden of the color of your skin. So it is unbelievably humbling to be a part of it, and it's a tad frightening to be in charge of it.
In charge of the world's largest network of museums, 19 of them, plus 21 libraries and the National Zoo. Bunch is also the Smithsonian's first African-American secretary.
The death of George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, the protests, the insurrection. Do you feel added pressure because you are an African American and you have this duty to portray history at the highest level?
Well, to be honest, as a Black man, I've always had the pressure, regardless of what job I was in. So what I think as an African American, what's really been the key to my sort of understanding myself in history is, how does a country find fairness? How does a country make sure that freedom really rings for everybody? The Smithsonian doesn't have a political agenda. Our goal is to make a country better.
And to find hope through history. Welcome to the bowels of the basement in the National Museum of American History.
They're cataloged, they're photographed. If they're fragile, they're mended.
For the first time, you're getting an exclusive look at how our past year of a pandemic and racial reckoning will be remembered here in the Smithsonian forever.
That's the very first Pfizer vaccine.
The first Pfizer vaccine given in the United States.
This is an unprecedented sneak peek into history preserved, not just for us.
Because they felt so passionately about a cause.
But also this museum's first female director, Dr. Anthea Hartig.
We have to collect to remember.
Reminding us all that our future lies in preserving the past.
Am I next?
Thanks to curators who secure these collections.
Everything we see here, it was empty.
Frank Blazich is with the Smithsonian's rapid response teams, collectors dispatched during historical crises, like this infamous day in our nation's capital.
There was trash kind of scattered everywhere, but
Frank took us back to where he saved those signs you just saw, now archived within the Smithsonian.
Since I thankfully had a multi-tool in my vehicle and was able to break the rivet off, and I had to kick the sign physically free of the post to take it back into the Smithsonian for our collection.
And where he tore through the trash after the Capitol Hill insurrection.
I found 2 American flags. I found a file folder of copies of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, an abolitionist song composed not more than a mile from here. And I even found a small personal defense hand whip or hand baton that had been buried down in the bottom of a trash can.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
In this case, America's treasure found in the trash.
Collecting today for tomorrow.
How do you want to see the Smithsonian make an impact on social justice?
The question really is it a moment where we take advantage of where we are? Is it a moment where, what does fairness really mean in the 21st century? As many people have said, it's a struggle for the soul of America.
A struggle Secretary Bunch says will be protected and preserved.
I come out of a community that said, you will stand on the shoulders of others, and you will open the door for others, and you will be better. So what I want is the country to believe that, is to recognize that when America comes together, it's amazing what we can accomplish.
While living up to that promise he made to himself decades ago.
And to demand a country live up to its stated ideals.
And before we go tonight, the image of the day, superstar running back who just showed us it's never too late to finish what you've started. Congratulations to Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook, who's now officially a graduate of Florida State University. Our message to all of you this Friday night, never give up on your dreams. That's our show for this hour. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Kira Phillips. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great weekend.